Okay, so it is the second review of Super Megaforce Episode 2. It would have been out last week, but I have been busy. So rather than doing the whole thing I did last time, which was run down all the different plots of the story, I thought I would talk about some of the items in the series. So first of all was the opening scene. Now, I really like this because it seemed that there was destruction, and you know, it wasn't just like you've seen this in like say Megazord battles where they destroy the city and everything's back to normal within a week or a couple of days or whatnot. You actually saw destruction and the city is still in tatters after this big invasion. And it seems like they're not going to be stopping, so it's like a continuous thing. So I think throughout the entire series until the Armada has been destroyed, we are going to see more destruction and more thing. So you have like everyone like gathering together to kind of rebuild stuff. Jake is kind of running around, and I kind of like Jake at the moment. I think he's a very good character. I think out of possibly the male cast, he is the most interesting one. He seems to do a lot more. Now, going back to like kind of the opening, you had Noah looking at the computer screen of like the past ones. He's looking at the computer and he's looking at all the stuff, and I think this is quite cool. This kind of reminded me of the Dino Thunder episode. I can't remember what it was, but you saw all like kind of rundown teams. It would have been nice seeing some of the older teams, not the footage that they had used previously, because when he was talking about SPD and stuff like that, you kind of think, well, it would be interesting to see SPD footage and not the kind of like the Gokaiger footage that they had through the entire series. So, through Gokaiger, should I say. So this is quite interesting. So as like the episode progresses, you can see that Jake's excited about certain things. So when he talks about the Carzord, he's like, oh my god, a Carzord! I like that. I thought that was quite cool. It just showed some exciting, and I kind of got the joke where the cherry pops off, and I kind of got that. It's kind of an adult joke, I reckon, to me. So that was fun. I think that the Megaforce suits linked into Super is actually a really cool thing, to be honest. I don't know why, it works. It just seems a bit more adult-ish to a way. The series has kind of changed. I don't know what it is. When you had Troy coming into like this kind of area where it's industrial state, it just seemed that he kind of took the initiative and he went for it himself rather than calling for his backup first of all, which again it's more of the leader that I've seen through the entire series of the show, where you have people running in, and it's kind of interesting. You kind of saw more of Troy, like kind of an anger thing where he's taking on these bad guys, he's doing it himself, but he is kind of character developing, I reckon. So jumping into the thing where they're all fighting, the morph sequence when he just goes Super Megaforce and does that roll, that jump roll, that I was impressed. So the battle seems to be a lot easier, and it just seems to kind of all fit in. Now it's not going to be a full episode. This is kind of my thoughts on it. So when it comes into the into where you got the other Rangers, Jake, Sia, Emma and Noah, it seemed that they were kind of using more unmorphed fights, which kind of reminded me of the Disney era, which kind of made the show, that sort of thing, awesome to understand. It seemed to be awesome to some degree. So you have this whole thing of they are now starting to do more unmorphed fights. So when I've heard fans turn around and say, I want it just to be like that, it's kind of, maybe they're listening or maybe they're putting more fights in. One scene that I really liked was when they ran and then they morphed and went straight through the bad guys. Now the only thing that I think would have been awesome on that one is if the bad guys just went exploded or just literally fell to the ground, because it kind of would have had like an anime-esque thing, like what they normally do with some of the Super Sentai when one person runs and slices first and then they all like kind of hit and fall down. One thing is I like, I don't think they're going to be doing it with when they have individual costumes, but when they say like, you know, let's use RPM's power, and they go like, RPM, get in gear. I loved that part. That was awesome. And then also when they use the Die Rangers, a lot of people have been complaining, saying like, oh my god, yeah, blah 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 with the Die Rangers. You can see the previous videos that I've linked about. So when they use this means that now they can open up to all of them. So now does it mean that they can also open up previous Rangers before Ranger or Mighty Morphing? So I'm gonna be kind of interested to see what happens. So you have Troy morphing into the Super Megaforce and just destroying it. But for some strange reason, when he is in that mode, he just seems to be different, like he doesn't care. to the bad guys, he's like, I'm gonna stop you no matter what, and huzzah, I will beat you. So again, it switches into Gokaiger footage, and they used it quite well. Very, very well, in fact. The only gripe I had was that they were inside and then outside, and it doesn't really show you, but then again, that's because I think they had Doggy Kruger footage, so they couldn't really use that sort of thing. They could have used it, that would have been cool to have, but again, it's one of those things where it's completely different. And then again, one of my favourite scenes of the entire series so far is at the end when they destroyed the bad guy, they turned around and Troy took the fight to them. Now, I don't know, and I could be mistaken, so your question of this will be now, as I remember it, would be, has any Red Ranger, apart from, or any team leader, apart from Forever Red, actually taking it to them? Because I think I remember someone was saying like Forever Red, Tommy was like, we got to take the fight to them. But straight after another battle, you have Troy just going, do you know what, we're going for it, and actually taking the Megazord and destroying it. Destroying the bad guys. It's kind of cool. I really like this. It just felt like Troy's completely changed a bit. And then again, they're on the skyship at the very end, and it's a very beautiful scene. It would have been fun. It would have been interesting to see some still smoke happening from the destruction, and I think it's going to be an interesting series so far. Now, a few gripes in it, as I mentioned. First of all, was Noah at the very beginning. He was watching it on the computer, and like people could walk by. Now, again, when he's going like, oh no, you can't, and he's doing all this movement to stop it, if the teacher comes in and goes like, oh, what are you doing? Saying, oh, I'm just looking at Power Rangers because, you know, they seem to be saving the world, so I just kind of see what they are. So that could be explained a bit more. Then if you were going to have and look at all your stuff, you would want to do it on the opposite side of the computer, where if he goes like, what are you doing? I'm just doing some research. That would be more sensible, to be honest. Another one is when I was watching it with my friend Johnny, it was the timer on the thing where it's set for 2 hours. Now, it would have been interesting if like you'd seen Troy fighting and just battling around, going bam bam bam, and he'd been doing it for like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes, rather than it being like, oh, it's 2 hours, now it's 1 hour 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, and then it jumps down. It just, that sort of thing wouldn't be believable. If you put it for an hour, I could understand. So yeah, I think that is all the thing. I think I saw some slight editing footage, which didn't kind of work well. But in all, it was a very good episode, and I'm very much looking for the entire series. So I'm going to see if next week's episode, which is one with Noah, there is a link before down, because it's the sword guy one. That's going to be quite an interesting one. So it's kind of a breakdown rather than like a full-on review type thing. But so far, the episode seems to be quite good. It seems to be, I don't know, changing it. I don't know what it is with season 2. Always seems to be a lot better than the first series, and it just seems to be more believable, and the acting seems a bit better. So it's, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. So yeah, that's all I can really say. If you've seen the episode, pop your comment down below on what's your favourite part, because I'd love to see what you guys think of the series so far. So let me know down below in the comments if you've liked this video, like, favourite, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in a bit.